The one habit that makes you unstoppable, even if you're lazy.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Be honest, you've probably made more promises to yourself than Netflix has seasons of Stranger Things. Tomorrow I'll start. Next week I'll get disciplined. And then boom, you're still binging chips and excuses. But here's the twist. Being unstoppable doesn't actually take willpower or motivation. It just takes this one sneaky habit. Most people think the secret to success is talent, motivation, or some secret productivity hack that billionaires whisper about at private dinners. But let's cut through the nonsense. The real superpower that makes people unstoppable is far less glamorous. It's not waking up at 4 a.m., not drinking kale smoothies, and definitely not buying a $50 planner that you abandon in February. It's consistency. The boring, tedious, everyday consistency where you show up even when you don't feel like it, even when your lazy side wants to marry the couch and lie there forever. And here's the funny thing. Consistency doesn't require you to be the hardest worker in the room. You don't need bursts of fiery motivation that fizzle out faster than New Year's resolutions. All you need is the ability to repeat small actions over and over until they become automatic. That's the sneaky part. Consistency works with your laziness. It tricks your brain into thinking, oh, this is just what we do now. Before you know it, the habit carries you even on your worst days. Take the gym, for example. The people who look like they were carved out of marble aren't necessarily the ones who train like beasts every single day. They're the ones who show up consistently, sometimes just for a light workout, but they keep clocking in. Science even backs this up. A study in the European Journal of Social Psychology found that, on average, it takes about 66 days to form a habit. That means if you can drag yourself to do something every day for just over 2 months, your brain starts doing it on autopilot. Lazy or not, it becomes your default setting. Now compare that to relying on motivation. Motivation is like that friend who hypes you up to go out, then cancels at the last minute. One day, you're on fire, promising yourself a 5 a.m. run, a green smoothie breakfast, and a Nobel Prize before lunch. The next day, you're hitting snooze 17 times and calling chips vegetable-based. If you want unstoppable progress, motivation is not your friend. Consistency is. Because consistency doesn't care about your mood, your excuses, or how bad the weather is. It's reliable. It's there, waiting for you, even when you don't feel like showing up. Here's where it gets interesting. You don't need to start big. In fact, starting big is the #1 way to fail. If you set out to read 50 books in a year, but can't commit to even 10 minutes a night, you're doomed. But if you tell yourself, okay, I'll read 1 page before bed every night, something magical happens. Some nights you'll stop after that page, but most nights you'll read more. Why? Because starting small lowers the barrier. It doesn't fight your laziness, it slips past it. And over time, 1 page becomes a chapter, then a book, then an identity shift. You become someone who reads. This works in every area. Writers who publish bestsellers aren't necessarily geniuses. Many of them just committed to writing 500 words a day. That's half a blog post, barely an email. But stacked daily, those small efforts add up to novels, screenplays, and careers. The same goes for businesses. Warren Buffett didn't become a billionaire by gambling on lucky stocks. He became one by consistently reinvesting year after year, compounding his way to the top. Small steps, repeated endlessly. Consistency also solves another huge problem: perfectionism. Lazy people often disguise themselves as perfectionists. They don't start because they want everything to be flawless from the beginning. But consistency doesn't demand perfection. You don't need perfect reps at the gym, a flawless meditation session, or a polished draft. You just need to show up. Missed a day? Fine. It won't kill you, so get back on track. Did a sloppy job? Doesn't matter. Tomorrow's another round. The sheer act of returning builds momentum, and momentum beats perfection every single time. And here's the paradox. Consistency creates freedom. It sounds counterintuitive because habits seem rigid. But once you build them, you free yourself from decision fatigue. You don't waste mental energy on, should I go to the gym today? You just go. You don't wrestle with, should I write or scroll Instagram? You just write. By putting your success on autopilot, you save energy for the things that actually matter. Let me give you a real-life example. Jerry Seinfeld, one of the most successful comedians alive, built his career on what he called the chain. Every day, he'd write jokes. Didn't matter if they were good or bad, long or short. He'd write. And every day he did it, he'd put an X on a calendar. His only goal was not to break the chain. That's consistency in action. Even Seinfeld admitted that some days he wrote garbage, but he still wrote, and that habit compounded into one of the greatest comedy careers ever. Now, let's talk about you. Maybe you're thinking, okay, consistency sounds nice, but I'm still lazy. Here's the good news. You don't need to change that. You just need to lower the bar enough that your laziness doesn't object. Want to exercise? Do 1 push-up a day. A lazy brain doesn't argue with 1 push-up. But after that push-up, 9 times out of 10, you'll do more. And repetition is how the unstoppable train starts rolling. And here's the final kicker. Consistency transforms your identity. The more you repeat something, the more your brain says, this is who I am. You're not just someone who runs occasionally, you're a runner. You're not someone who dabbles in writing, you're a writer. You're not someone who meditates when life is stressful, you're a meditator. And identity is powerful. When you see yourself differently, your actions follow. If this hit you harder than your morning coffee, then don't just nod and scroll away. Hit that subscribe button. More mind-shifting, laugh-sprinkled tips are waiting, and trust me, you don't want to miss the next one.